What's good, y'all? Anderson Emerald here, and today we're talking about Grand Slam track, the fact that Grand Slam track is unfortunately now canceled for the 2025 season. The last meet that was supposed to be held in Los Angeles is no longer going to be going down on June 28th and June 29th. That is canceled, no longer occurring this year. Now, they have said that Grand Slam track will return in 2026 to restart the league then, so TBD, but unfortunately the Los Angeles Slam is canceled. Now, a couple things I do want to address here. First off, we don't actually know the specific reason as to why Grand Slam track in Los Angeles has been canceled. But as of me recording this right now, they did put out an official statement, and Michael Johnson says, quote, "The decision to conclude the inaugural Grand Slam track season is not taken lightly, but one rooted in a belief that we have successfully achieved the objectives we set out in this pilot season, and the importance of looking towards 2026 and beyond. We launched with a bold vision to reimagine professional track racing, and we could not be more excited about what we have accomplished so far, delivering amazing races to a rabid fan base. As we've said all along, we were going to have learnings, make adjustments, and continue to improve. Sometimes we have made moves that aren't comfortable, but what's most important is the future and sustainability of the league." He continues, says, quote, "The global economic landscape has shifted dramatically in the past year, and this decision has been made to ensure the long-term stability as the world's premier track league. Our attention is now on 2026, with our eyes set on continuing to deliver the best in-class storytelling, content, and competition that we have become known for in our debut year. We are in conversations with potential host cities, many of whom have already thrown their names in the hat to build out an exciting calendar of events for our fans across the globe. We are committed to calling Los Angeles home and look forward to hosting a slam in LA as part of the 2026 season." So, and I'll post the the official release in the description so you could check that out. But this doesn't give a very clear and specific reason. I mean, the global economic landscape has shifted dramatically in the past year. Maybe that means that they don't have enough finances to, put on the last slam. But, I don't know. It's hard to kind of read through the lines. I'll do another full video tomorrow, but I do want to be clear that we don't know the exact, very specific reason as to why Grand Slam track Los Angeles is canceled. So I want to make sure that's very clear. Though we have seen various different reports from sources in different articles across the board. Of course, early in the morning, we did see that the Sunday Times, they reported that Grand Slam track is canceled, and they gave various different reasons. It said the decision was made in light of the failure to secure sufficient sponsorship and broadcast revenue for the league, which launched in April, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one reason why. I also did see in Runner's World, it said sources confirmed that the league had concerns about the venue deal in Los Angeles. So the venue actually being at the UCLA campus there. Also, in, I think it was Front Office Sports, we saw a couple different reasons where it said sources close to Grand Slam track ascribed the looming cancellation to a variety of factors. May postpone LA because of a new strategic partner / investor, one source wrote in a direct message. Geopolitical climate in LA also doesn't help, so referring to the anti-ICE protests. But all these other things, right? It's unclear why new investment money would affect the LA meet. Also, a second source cited a poor lease agreement with UCLA. So a couple different things are being reported as to why Grand Slam track Los Angeles is being canceled. But I want to be very clear at the top. Grand Slam track has not confirmed any of these reasons as to why they're canceling Los Angeles. Now, I'm of course going to give my opinion as to, what may or may not be occurring, but I'm going to specifically dive into why this, the negatives, and then also the potential positives looking forward in 2026. So one thing at the start is this is a really, really big blow for this track and field world, where initial reactions started to come out kind of like a disappointment feeling, where people on Twitter specifically were reacting and were like, "What? Grand Slam? I can't believe it. Grand Slam track Los Angeles, it's canceled. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it." Almost like disappointment because there was a lot of momentum. Let's be honest. Grand Slam track was building momentum. Let's say I've been attending all the Grand Slams with Stadius Mag, Kingston, Miami, and Philly. You can say that Kingston, of course, was just a first meet. Crowds weren't as big as might have been expected. But then with Miami, and then of course with Philly, there was a lot of momentum that was building up. And I think coming off of Philly, to have Los Angeles canceled was a big surprise, because Grand Slam, to a degree, with Philly, almost like, quote unquote, proved that they can, pack out, not necessarily fill out the entire stadium, but they can bring fans out to watch high quality track and field for something that's brand new in the sport, right? Grand Slam track in Kingston, Grand Slam track in Miami, in Philly, never existed before. So to be able to bring out a ton of fans, of course, pack out Miami, and then really bring out a lot of fans in a massive stadium in Philly, that was building momentum. So to see Los Angeles canceled, it was like, yo, this was really getting good. We were really starting to, buy into what was actually occurring. The things that, of course, Michael Johnson and Grand Slam Track had promised literally almost at this point a full year ago in June 2024 when they announced it with Michael, with Sydney, with John Anderson, with Carl Lewis, et cetera, et cetera. So that, I think, was one of the initial reactions, just initial disappointment because people were looking forward to Los Angeles, the final slam. The other reaction that I started to see come along was also like, Grand Slam track is running out of money. Grand Slam track ran out of money. We knew they wouldn't be able to afford it. This, of course, has been a narrative that's been running essentially over the past year, right? How are you going to be able to pay these athletes? You can't keep shelling out $100K to the winners, right? $50K to second place. You can't keep, flying everyone out to these different cities and this, that. Like, people were questioning how is it going to be sustainable, for the long term, and if Grand Slam track is, going to have enough money, if the investors are going to be happy, without returning anything. All those questions started to arise, which then, leading to Los Angeles being canceled, allowed many people to say, all right, y'all ran out of money. Again, we don't know anything. Like, I don't know anything. We don't know anything 100% confirmed. You can speculate, but, we'll actually see what comes into fruition. So those were some of the initial reactions that did occur. And one of the things for me personally that really sucks is track and field really needed something like Grand Slam track. And whether or not Grand Slam track was perfect or, was doing everything right, that's beside the point. It's just the idea that someone like Michael Johnson was able to bring together a league where some of the best athletes in the sport that we all love, and they were getting paid, they were getting recognition. You saw profiles raised, like Melissa Jefferson, right? Was very much an under the radar athlete, even though, she was an NCAA champion indoors, even though she was a USA champion, even though she was an Olympic bronze medalist, but her profile was significantly raising. A Kenny B, his profile was significantly raising. And this kind of structure is something that we needed for the sport that was really seeming to build up momentum and, was really working. So on a personal level, like I'm like really disappointed because I was looking forward to seeing LA, everyone to cap things off there, and then we go on and focus on the World Championships. I think long term, something like Grand Slam track is going to be necessary. Now, again, whether or not it's Grand Slam track or something else in some different capacity, that's a whole different discussion, but they will be coming back for 2026, which is something very good. So that's just something that really does suck. But I want to be clear because I'm going to talk about some of the negative sides, specifically the optics, but I want to kind of set that foundation where it's like, personally, I think the sport needs a Grand Slam track. The sport needs a league. The sport needs to pay athletes fairly and give them recognition that they truly do deserve, like the professional athletes that they should be in the sport of track and field. But let's talk about those optics, because there's some really negative things that unfortunately are, going to come out of this, at least initially. I'm going to do a video tomorrow a little more in depth, but just on the surface, optic wise, this is really bad. This is really bad for track and field, really bad for Grand Slam track because of how it looks. You went through the first 3 meets of your inaugural season, first season, for what was, touted as and promised as like the best of the best. Were, bringing in a change to track and field, a new league, something that's never been done, and you weren't able to finish it. So just on the surface level, optics wise, this is really bad, because now the question is, okay, you couldn't even finish your first season. What can we expect for next year? And this isn't to disparage Grand Slam track in any way, but it's just the reality of, fans, bought tickets to go see them for a full season, right? Athletes signed, of course, contracts, whether you're a racer or maybe you're a challenger. There was athletes who were already saying like, yo, I'm competing in Los Angeles. So they must have been doing things already. So, that trust there, maybe agents, maybe coaches, like, listen, there's people who maybe are feeling like, damn, like, yeah, we trusted y'all and y'all couldn't finish out the season. Now, again, I'm going to get to, 2026, but just initial optics of like, you couldn't finish the season. That is a massive blow. The other thing that I look at is the fact that Michael Johnson is the one who spearheaded this league and was the commissioner. That's very important because Michael Johnson is one of the track and field GOATs. He is from this sport. He's, of course, an multiple-time Olympic gold medalist, former world record holder in the 200 and the 400. He's, one of the sport icons, golden shoes in the 90s, et cetera, et cetera. And he's been in the sport as an athlete in the 90s. He was a broadcaster for the BBC, and he's also been on the business side before even Grand Slam track came into fruition. So it's the idea that, hold on, someone within track and field put something together that I thought was really, really great. I have a whole video where I was like talking about what Grand Slam track might need to do to kind of like really separate itself, but didn't put it out yet. But put something together that we thought was we saw as really, really great and was building momentum, but now you have to cancel it mid-season. Not like, okay, after Los Angeles, it's over, but mid-season. So that maybe is going to have people take a step back and say, hold on. So someone in the sport wasn't able to finish out their slam or their initiative, right? Not someone who's coming from the outside, not someone who's like from the outside looking in, trying to learn things, right? Someone in the sport wasn't even able to, put together and continue on or finish out this new initiative in his first year. Again, we don't know the reasons why, but the optics wise, that unfortunately doesn't look great. And y'all know, I've attended every single slam. I've been rooting for, athletes to attend Grand Slam track and all that, but optics wise, that's a big, big hit on Grand Slam track and then track and field as a whole. Does that mean that other people now look at track and field and say, hey, either two things. Hey, I'm not even interested in potentially, investing or diving into track and field because someone in the sport wasn't able to do it. Or on the flip side, maybe there is some opportunity to like dip into track and then, just dip out, right? Get my money and get out, right? Again, this is all just optics. This isn't fact, right? This isn't fact in any capacity, but just the optics wise, it unfortunately doesn't look great. So we'll have to see how things do kind of like move forward. But with that, I do want to mention a few things as to why there may be some positives going forward. Now, first thing, they said that they're coming back for 2026, and that's going to be their focus for moving forward. So they're going to be focusing in, they're going to make sure that they're getting ready for 2026, and hopefully they're going to be better than what they were here. I mean, A, that means finishing out a full season, and then B, expanding on the things that they did very well in Kingston, in Miami, in Philly, whether or not they return to those cities, but just expanding upon that. I think that's one, I don't know, positive or at least an opportunity for Grand Slam track as they kind of do move forward. We saw how they did take feedback in the middle of the season, and at least they switched up the schedule from 3 days to 2 days. That's also, I see, another place for, an opportunity for Grand Slam track as they look towards next year. Use this time. I don't know what methods they got to use, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's, surveys, whether it's, focus groups, whatever. Use this time to collect data, to collect feedback, to collect insights from people across the board, whether that is just directly from fans on Twitter, whether that is from, focus groups with media representatives, whether that is with business leaders within the world of track and field, things that they've probably done in different capacities already. But now that the optics don't look great, how can you use this feedback to build up a really, really strong product for 2026? How can you make sure that when you go into 26, you're instilling that confidence in the fans, in the athletes, in the media, in everyone who's watching to say, listen, all right, we might have made a mistake last time. We might have had to cancel our last meet, but no, we're going to be ready in 2026. And this is exactly why. We heard you, we're listening, and we're going to make sure we implement that. And then also with that, I would say Grand Slam track might have to really stick with it, right? Even though, in my opinion, I did like the fact that they went from 3 days to 2 days, but there was, again, just going back to those optics of like, did y'all think through this at first? Like, did you really, dive into what would actually be good? Again, everyone is going to learn, as they kind of do progress, but can they go into 26, take feedback beforehand, implement it, and then say, hey, we're sticking with this. Now, maybe after the season, we got to change things up, but we're confident in what we're doing right now. We're going to stick with it, and this is going to be our league. Again, this I think is just an opportunity, and this is just kind of like initial reactions, initial thoughts relating to the cancellation. But hey, I think the optics is the biggest thing where it's like, damn, like they really, really didn't. They canceled the last slam it's like 2 weeks before LA was supposed to go off, and now, I don't know, athletes are left in the dark, fans left in the dark. It's like, man, like everyone was really looking forward to it. But there are still some opportunities. They're not canceling all of Grand Slam track. It's going to be back in 2026, whatever form that actually does look like. So just my initial thoughts. Again, this is really unfortunate. Like I was hyped. I was working on I have a couple videos in the tuck about like how Grand Slam track does need to elevate, specifically on, you know, why there was going to be some good competition coming, but how they could potentially elevate. Obviously, I'm not going to put those out. Maybe later, but this sucks. This really does suck. For the track and field world, at minimum, we don't get to see some exciting track in Los Angeles at the end of this month. You know, of course, track is going on all around the world, but at maximum, maybe not maximum, but just the idea that's, you know, an initiative started within our sport. Again, shout out to Michael Johnson. He's done great work to be able to bring this to fruition, but someone who is in our sport and understands our sport, but wasn't able to successfully finish out the first season. Again, they're coming back for 2026, but the first season, that of course, optics wise is not a great look, but we'll see what goes on in 2026. Again, I'll have another more in-depth video. I have like a whole kind of like notes taken down about some things, but wanted to make sure I could just like address this real quick as we look for, you know, the rest of the year. We got a lot of track coming up, so it's going to be exciting in 2025. But hey, let me know what you think about the cancellation of Grand Slam track, and just initial thoughts. But always appreciate y'all. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.